Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I know we was going to do some other videos, but I kind of got hooked onto picking up a couple of the newer Star Wars micro squadron or micro galaxy squadrons or whatever. So really wanted to kind of see, because I picked up some of the old Galoob action fleet many years ago. So I really kind of got curious, especially once I saw that they had some of the certain vessels out, and I've picked up a couple because I had the old ones and I wanted to get them, see what the new ones were like. So you know what? Let's kind of go through and review them. So we're going to start off with the N-1 Starfighter from Naboo. So this is our new one. So when we look at what we have from our micro galaxy, we do have a longer vessel than what we had originally had. The one that I have here, this actually came from a playset, so this is just a shell to sit there on the playset for Naboo. And I don't know what I ever did with that one. I'm sure I've got it sitting in a box somewhere. But this actually sat there, and they had a spot where you could actually plug it in. You could actually put your tail in, so it would plug in and charge up. And this had some battle damage on here. And of course, this is all kind of blackened out because this is just a shell just for a display. And I don't know if I had to pick this one up separate or if this one came with it. I really don't remember. But here we are with the N-1 Starfighter. So being the older one, I don't know how well, I'm doing this with my phone and I'm trying to make do here. This one is a little bit shorter. They have the tail section shorter than what we have on the new one. And as far as the cockpit opening up, this actually slid open much like the original cockpit did in the show. And we do have R2 sitting here, and not really remember exactly how he got in there. Actually, he's just permanently in there. So I do have a button underneath here so I can push him up. Or if I push the head down, then it looks like he's recessed. But that's really the only play function we got out of it. And of course, I do have Anakin sitting in there, and he is short in comparison to that cockpit. Okay, closing the cockpit up. So we do notice that, we have our standard blaster cannons on here in the front. When we flip this over, we do have landing gear here, and this is a nice rendition of what the original landing gear were. They're very kind of spiny, and that was very reminiscent as to what it originally was. So all in all, not too bad for a good representation way back in the day. I can't remember how many years ago this was. I don't know if it's 10 years or 20 years. I don't really remember anymore. Time flies when you're having fun. But this is what we had all those years ago, and it worked out pretty good. So let's kind of fast forward to what we have today, and we can look at it. And as you can see, side by side, we do have a longer Starfighter. The tail here, right in this connection, this was separate, and then we had to actually plug this in. One of the things with the old ones, we did not have a plug-in feature like that. That came in the way it was. So as we go there, and we're already upside down, so let's kind of get to our landing gear here and kind of putting this out. The landing gear is not as refined as what we had on our old one. So as you look at it, it's a blockier setup than what we had before. So when they're doing this, they didn't give us that nice textured look like what we had from the Phantom Menace. Everything was, nice and contoured from Naboo. Actually, I think I'll leave those out. And the other thing, I do have to put this up. We do have a flap here. And if I open this up, you see R2 there. So I can actually push on R2. And if I can see him here, there he is. So we do actually have our R2 figure. Now, these are very small. This is for a 1-inch scale. So it works out pretty good. He kind of really hides in the in the tablecloth here, but it works out pretty good. And the fact that now you have a figure you can play with and kind of do, whether you want to use them as a little action figure for your imagination or what have you, you do have that availability. And that is nicely done in here. So I do really respect that. Now, our cockpit here opens up in the back. And then we have Anakin kind of laying in here, which is what he would be doing. It is a little bit more contoured for his height. I don't know what it would be like for a full-size figure being in here. He does have some room to slide in there, so I think we would be fine if we did have a full-size figure. So if you wanted to pick up 2 of these and throw somebody else in there, I think you would have that ability. But I'm not going to say 100% because I really don't know, because I don't have a full-size figure in here with me at the moment. But looking at the front, we do have our blaster cannons, and we do have underneath here our plasma torpedo. Something I didn't really mention here, we do have a little notch here for our plasma torpedo on the original. Width-wise, it looks like they're both roughly about the same width, but our newer one is contoured longer, so it widens that out a little bit more. It doesn't look as wide here because it's longer. So we have that going with it. And it is a very nice and sleek vessel. I think it's done pretty good, although the landing gear, I think, does leave a little bit to be desired in comparison to what we had. And this is very much what we had in the Phantom Menace. That's how they looked. So I think when they went through and redid it, I think they kind of goofed up, unless they're saying that these are an upgraded version of it. But we also have Anakin on there as a young Anakin, not an older Anakin, so I don't see why that would be that way. Just kind of saying. So I think that they kind of goofed up on their landing gear, but all in all, it is not that bad. In comparison, I think it's pretty comparable. This is a little bit smaller in the engines. It is a little sleeker, has that nicer appeal. I think it works out pretty good. But I will say that there are some nice features, especially the landing gear. That was really nice, although we do not get a chance to get our 2 out of here. All in all, I think the newer version is a little bit better. Because, I mean, we actually have 2 figures to play with. We get to have our droid with us. If you wanted to replace it with something else, you could. The fact that they're doing some of the other... like speeders and everything else, I don't know if they're going to have any droids in there. So that's a possibility of having something there. And we might be able to, change figures out. So with that, thank you so very much for joining me. It's always wonderful to have you with. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.